Really good? Good. Good.
Check, check.
I'm glad.
All right, everybody. My name is A.S. Coomer. I'm a writer and a musician here in Elizabethtown. We do this once a month. Usually it occurs on the first Sunday, but due to scheduling stuff, it sometimes doesn't. We have a sign-up sheet over here if you would like to share some poems after the features. There are also snickerdoodle cookies that are delicious. Let's see. Make sure to tip the bar staff. Next month's reading is going to be on the 8th, and we're going to have Meredith and Bob Ernst as our features. We'll always have the all poetry open mic. All right, let's go through the boring stuff. This is a safe space for poetic expression. This isn't a place for bigotry of any kind. Please don't jeer and heckle each other. We are a supportive community. We're here because we believe in the power of the word. Let's help elevate not only our own words, but the words of all our fellow poets. We don't believe in censorship here, but content warnings for especially sensitive material are appreciated. The open mic sign-up sheet, we usually do 3 poems. So prepare 3 poems for that. Tom C. Hunley is the author of 8 full-length poetry collections, 8 chapbooks, 2 textbooks, and 2 produced films. He and his wife of 29 years have 4 amazing kids. Right or wrong, he believes he has impeccable taste when it comes to literature, film, music, and the one woman who has his whole heart. He seriously lacks inner resources, and he's almost certain that his liver is diseased. He despises generative AI, groupthink, the tortured language of propaganda, big government, and bloated bureaucracies, especially in universities. He has published poems and stories in journals with names beginning with every letter of the alphabet, from Atlanta Review to Zone 3. He is currently working on a novel and a memoir. Everybody, Tom C. Hunley.
Thanks, Drew. Awesome intro, and thanks for inviting me and setting this up. And thank you all for being here. Looking forward to hearing your words in the open mic. I got 9 poems that I plan to read to you. The first 3 are from The Loneliest Whale in the World, which is my newest full-length book. I have copies for $12 of that book. Here we go. This poem's called Grace. I was born a month before my country flagged the moon. Once, young, drunk, and lonely, I tried to follow a star but lost it in the smog. I have seen the signs. They say hell is real, his and herpes, and welcome to Indiana. The other night, as dinner steamed on our plates, I said, "Dear Lord," and my son said, "Shut the hell up once and for all," and my daughter said, "Amen." Abel, God loved. Cain, he hated. Adam and Eve must have had such mixed feelings. I keep wanting to deserve grace, which makes no sense, I know. Bows in her hair, smoke in her eyes. The first girl I loved existed only in a song. I want the other ark, the one with unicorns, mermaids, 2 cyclops gazing into each other's eye. The pastor has writer's block because last Sunday he overheard someone say, "My favorite part of the sermon was when it ended," and he heard someone else say, "Amen." My favorite place is my basement. I spend a lot of time in it. Objectively, it's an unfinished basement with spider webs everywhere and stuff, but I've got a band room area, I've got a study area, I've got a fancy couch and a big TV and a air hockey table, and anyway, I've really man-caved it up, and this is a poem about that. In my man cave. The awful silence kept going and growing like our teenagers and our grocery bills. My self-consciousness had fallen away like my hair. I closed my eyes, saw a coffin open up like the lips of the first girl I ever kissed. Mosquitoes feasted on my neck, which also reminded me of the first girl I kissed. Her name gone like the title of a movie I remember liking but don't remember. I poured a flight of bourbons and entered the world of a poetry anthology where I read about a sunset that looked like a hummingbird's wings giving out, and I tasted a bourbon with hints of sour apple and felt as forgotten as a sentence in the middle of a technical manual. though in the background, one of our kids grunted and sweated beneath a barbell, while the others made a ping pong ball sound like popcorn popping. More bourbon, until again I saw the first girl I ever kissed, her body older and then gone, and I said, "Hey girl, you're just a symbol of my lost youth anyway." And I listened harder to the poetry telling me my struggles, which I hold so close, will come to a close, telling me that before 1932, the entire world lived without electric guitars and may have felt the lack without really knowing what it was, just this feeling of missing something loud and essential. And this feeling in me, maybe it amounted to missing something that hadn't been invented yet. One more from this collection. It's called My Chili Recipe and Ars Poetica. Ars Poetica means the art of poetry, so it's like a poem about how to write poems. What happened is I decided I wanted to write one day, and my chili recipe was already on the screen, and feeling kind of lazy, I just said, well, I'll just start with that, call that the first draft. My chili recipe and Ars Poetica. Section 1, what you need. The river. 3 pounds ground beef, the passing of the dead on the banks of what remains, 4 tablespoons minced garlic, a galloping sound, 2 diced green tomatoes, the sound of a violin being shattered by a perfectionist, 1 diced onion, the wind humming half drunkenly, 1 16-ounce can of kidney beans, the song of nuns calming children during a hurricane, 1 beer, the 4 seasons, 1 16-ounce can of pinto beans, a mouthful of vowels and air, 6 bay leaves, every ache in your body, 2 16-ounce cans of corn, thee and thou and thy, and the way all 3 make your tongue feel under your teeth, 3 teaspoons of salt, Agamemnon's last cry and the sound of his spear whistling in the Trojan wind, 3 tablespoons of sugar, the long process of 2 people becoming a couple, 1 tablespoon of chili powder, the words you need when you're untethered from yourself, 3 tablespoons Dale's seasoning sauce, the sound of that violinist trying again, 2 15-ounce cans diced tomatoes, the words that bring the world back when it's floating away like a helium balloon, 1 teaspoon black pepper, breaking up and making up, 1 8-ounce can tomato sauce, the odor of the Library of Alexandria burning, 2 tablespoons vinegar, the prayer of a dying man veiled in anagrams, 3 serrano peppers, all of your sorrows. 2, what you do. Begin with the river, brown beef and memories of the dead with garlic, green peppers, the heart song of the near-shattered violinist, and onion. Love the world the way a horse's spirit gallops in its body. Add the whistles of wind, the nun song, the mouths full of air and vowels, the thee and the thy and the thou, the ache of human pangs, the spear shivering in midair, the long process of becoming a couple, the words you need to bring yourself back to yourself. Add Dales after draining grease. Add heat and ingredients, starting with seasonings. Add the seasons. Sprinkle in sighs and songs, the sound of the violin trying again, the words you need to bring the world back to the world. Slowly bring to boil. Add beer and beans, the tide, corn, tomatoes, and tomato sauce. Add bay leaves and breakups followed by makeups. Put all of your sorrows into the anagram prayer and leave them there to simmer. Cook over medium-low heat for 2 hours, stirring occasionally. All right, thank you. That's the loneliest trail. So this is more experimental. This is abridged eraser poems. It's a chapbook that was published last year. I'm going to read from the About the Author because it kind of explains what I'm trying to do in this. About the author, Webster's does not contain an entry defining Tom C. Hunley. He loves poetry, which is made of silence and noise as much as of words. The lyric love child of one of the untranslatable roughs and one of the wiggy prophets come back. Tom attempted several times to read through the entire dictionary as if it were a novel, but he couldn't keep track of the plot. By using erasure techniques, he did manage to find various stories within the dictionary, as well as a good deal of poetry with its alliterations, double entendres, rhymes, imagery, and mystery. Essentially, he found a bridge between the dictionary and poetry in the form of the abridged dictionary in your hands. So it's 26, it's a dictionary, an abridged dictionary, made out of 26 poems, each based on, or each erased from the section of the dictionary that starts with that letter. So I'm just gonna do A and Z, and you can imagine what's in the middle, and if you like it, buy it to find out what's in the middle. A, A word's a bridge between world and alphabet in the order fixed by custom. Elementary principles of altitude, above sea level, above the horizon, a high position or rank, aroma, characteristic odor of an ass, chiefly British. Z. Zany, extravagant, outlandish, strangeness, zaps with heavy firepower, strafes or bombards, a zebra, wild ass, Zen enlightenment attained through zeugma. For example, the businessman left in high spirits and a Cadillac, zigzagging in alternating directions, such sharp turns. These are $5 for chapbooks. But I wanted to read some new stuff, so I got 4 poems here that are unpublished. The current manuscript is called Verify You Are Human, tentatively. It's called New Year's Resolutions. To stand among trees so still that they accept me and agree to serve as jurors should I ever stand trial. To listen to one lone bird close enough to mend its broken wing, its wounded song. To stare at a canvas until every frail brushstroke stares back at me and holds my gaze. To laugh from the belly, a drink rushing through my veins, until I feel sunlight as it floods a stone and wind as it reddens my face. To feel, to fall feral, and then to stand up again, along with the hairs on the back of my hands, and walk into the wind, my unzipped coat a parachute to bring me down, back down soft, should I begin to float away once more. Thank you. It's called Hotel Bar in the Rain. I did write it at a hotel. They actually didn't have a hotel. I made up the hotel. I made up the bar. I wasn't a hotel. I wish there were a bar, so I made one. Somewhere rain splashes in the eyes of dead soldiers, but no one sees, so it falls on me to imagine it, is the kind of thing I say that makes bartenders cut me off. Rather than rain, I hear the squeak of my departing father's sneakers speaking their soul word, which I can't translate except to say it's like the sheen on the face of a starlet in an old movie that you watch, horrified by the black and white fact that by now she's forgotten all her lines, including her kids' names. Apollinaire said the future trembled like a tiny faraway light, but how could he have foreseen this broken barfly about to get bounced, and this broke waitress, nearly in tears, apologizing for the lousy, overpriced nachos? What can I do but overtip her and lift my last bourbon to his lips to take the shaking out of his hands? All right, I got 2 more, 2-poem warning. I think Clay Matthews is up next. If Drew says yes. And then there's open mic. Have you signed up for open mic yet? You should sign up for open mic if you haven't. It's right there. This is called Ode to My Crippling Self-Doubt. It seems possible, likely even, that I've been wrong about everything. On second thought, becoming a morning person might prove achievable in ways that becoming a sunrise might not. I may have spoken too soon when I said with unearned confidence that the boy who gives away chocolate samples sits in the dark alone with his thoughts of the girl who sells movie tickets, licking chocolate off her fingers, that when he sees her it feels like seeing a sunset through a hospital window. And now my sources tell me that the well-meaning asshole who cleared the snow from my driveway, inadvertently massacring my village of tiny snowmen, was neither an asshole nor particularly well-meaning. And in retrospect, there's no way to make umbrellas out of words. I get that now. And no buckets of words could never cool the fire that's propelling me headlong into a pool that turns out to be made of tears. It's here, Matt Edwards here. Oh, he's going to be here. My last poem is called God's Dog. Yes. God's dog waits master to swim with him, to hunt with him. God's best friend barks, remembering canine ancestors and humans around the fire, scraps in prison cells, bars, rented rooms, flower-filled fields. Jesus on troubled waters, I don't regret my life as it drifts away, God's dog thinks, and licks his own balls. Born to bark in the street on all fours, body a doghouse. Now I remember how to worship like I'm hungry, thirsty, and yearning to be led inside. Thanks.
Thomas C. Hunley. Y'all give it one more time. We have a sign-up sheet right here by these delicious snickerdoodle cookies, if you'd like to sign up to share some poems. But next up, we got Clay Matthews. Clay Snickerdoodle Matthews has published poetry in journals such as American Poetry Review, Image, Kenyon Review, Appalachian Review, The Southern Review, and elsewhere. He is the author of several collections of poetry, and his next collection, Birds Sing Anyway, is forthcoming from Cornerstone Press. Congratulations, Clay. That's awesome. He currently lives in Elizabethtown and teaches at Elizabethtown Community and Technical College. Everybody, Clay Matthews.
Thanks, Drew. Thanks, Tom, for that awesome set and coming up to read with us. Thanks, Sherry, for the snickerdoodle cookies. It's my new nickname. I'll take it. I'm only going to read 3 poems, so they're going to be kind of longer. I don't know how this is going to go. So you'll have to kind of bear with me on a couple of them. They're longer. The first one is called Truck Stop Reliquary. And we had some family in for Christmas. We took them down to Buc-ee's. This is not like a Buc-ee's poem. This is like a Flying J's poem. If you've been to like difference between those. But I've always loved truck stops just as a sort of little microcosm, and so here we go. This is a long one, so bear with me. This is a story of what gets picked up along the way. A coffee counter and fountain soda that won't stop running. Spring up, oh well, of everlasting life. Oh well, the old man beside me says. He hacks into a napkin, buries it into his overalls, throws $1 on the counter and waves goodbye to everyone. Everyone should at some point say something personal to a stranger in the restroom. Books on tape, Moby Dick played in a cab across Iowa, the hills of northern Missouri, down Mississippi Way, Alabama, and Stubbs saying, "But I am not a brave man. Never said I was a brave man. I am a coward, and I seem to keep up my spirits." I sit with silverware, a real cloth napkin, hot gravy, a sense of home for myself, for the 15 truckers, for the family too tired to pull through another drive-through, just wanting a cold glass of water, a booth, a little time to unwind, to talk. I could stay in this place forever, I think, if it were home. Perhaps sometimes it is. So I sit in another truck stop and try to avoid thinking about politics, the dramatic tension of a conversation 2 booths down. Or not politics, but politics, as I understand them, the personal level, the ashy arms of the waitress wiping away the mess the child has left behind. No anger in her wipe, but rather compassion there, love, this briefly and entirely different life of swing sets and doggy teddy bears walks slowly across her mind, paced to the tick of cowboy boots, clicking on the tile floor behind her. Taped to the windows, dollar pledges for medical research, the donors' names displayed on paper stars. Post your sorrows, post your hopes. Buy a little ridiculous something at the counter because being ridiculous is the best way to feel like a good consumer, a good customer. I tip her well and hope it's enough for the hot plate, the timely coffee refills, just a little to keep you warm, she says. And outside, circus tents boxed up on flatbeds, 20 trucks in a row, and tarps and tie-downs and the wailing moans of tired and exotic animals, calling out all the secrets of the magician's magic underneath. The snake charmer takes a seat on the bench outside. The scaled man practices blowing fire from his mouth. Home is nowhere in this moment. Home is mashed potatoes, a hot roll, and after a long day on the road, sometimes the simplest things can almost make you weep. The waitress lowers the blinds as the sun comes down, and through the windows it cuts across the countertop, and on and into 1,000 small gadgets, extra lights for the trailer, leather gloves, automotive oil, roses for those who need roses, postcards for those riding home. In the distance, only a mile away, the interstate hums, and the machines rush in either direction, making pathways with their lights, leaving, arriving, traveling on, while on the side of the road, the large sign for this place offers everything they could want, everything but where they want, and how, and who. They go on and off at 80 miles an hour, passing the glow of this place, preserved in memory, a holy relic of the journey, the long and at last, this exit from which they had no way to return. So many state lines and alcohol or no alcohol behind the counters, on the shelves, cold beer in the cooler or no beer at all, a dry county and 30 more miles if you be a thirsty one. At the gasoline pumps, they shiver and watch as the wheel turns, the dollar turns, the price turns over and up, another gallon of milk, a bucket of honey. We go as the wind goes today, wild and long and slowly balling its way from the north, moving as the weather vane turns, the metal horse atop the central building, pointing the other way with a tailwind at her back, wanting to run. Video games in an arcade buzz in the background, and a middle-aged father sits with his son in a small dual car game as they race each other and keep driving through the night. Even as they have come to this place for the road to temporarily end, picture this: the red suspenders of a trucker crawling out of his cab, yawning, waking to a world of late darkness, early dawn, of frost as he pulls the tight elastic off his shoulders, stretches and reaches toward the low pitch of a blue morning sky. Someday soon he will return here from the West Coast, buy the same meal, thank the same woman, stare longingly at the same postcard for the same Caribbean island that has held the same place in his heart as it has beat for so long now, tucked beneath the same brand of cigarettes, rising and falling in his shirt pocket as he breathes the smell of bleach in a mop bucket. The door opens and inside a bell rings, the sound and signal of a human, a ghost, a being entering or leaving, or lost or lonely. Outside the door waits an abandoned dog left to beg. It wags and I take it a bit of food, something warm to eat, as do the others, all of them, whatever they have left to offer. Thanks for bearing with me on that one. I got my hair cut one time in like a Flying J's. It was an experience. Did a pretty good job, I think. So that one kind of ended with bells of a door ringing, and every time, like during Christmas break, I try to watch It's a Wonderful Life somewhere like around Christmas time. This poem's based off that. It's called An Angel Gets Your Wings, and it's based on life. On television, there's an old movie about a ghost that's come to change a man's life. Next door, the little girl howls while her parents fight over a lost pipe. The days are punctuated by street corners and looking out windows, the nights by deadbolts and Christmas lights. Yesterday, we had the sweet gum tree in the front yard cut back, leaving what we thought would survive to persist. A yellow cracked rock in a sandwich bag, the 5th anniversary party, a broken branch hanging down, still putting out a flower and leaves. My daughter, too, flaps her arms like wings and cries out, "I can't fly." The dark sound, she says, owls in the night, a train in the distance. She believes so deeply in the moon. If you are good, the season will reward you with ribbons and bows. If you are bad, it's all branches and blessed stones. Semis bounce down the road, and I never know what they're hauling. A choir of angels, maybe, a load of pallets, worthless except to hold some heavy burden and raise it up. The radio plays all the songs we know, the wreaths encircle the front doors. From the bridge on television, the water looks cold and beautiful. From the water, the windows look warm and full of song. I want to wrap the little girl next door up in a blanket and lay her under the tree, but I don't know where to begin. All right, as a reminder, if you came in and you haven't signed up for the open mic, that's up here. I've got one more poem. This is another long one. Another kind of winter poem, but with the hopes for spring. I think I had Sylvia Plath's Tulips in mind when I wrote this. These are all kind of old poems, and so I was trying to find something I hadn't read here before. But this one's called Tulips. For 3 days I've seen sun and rain and now snow falling, but it is slow to a blunder almost, a blight. Winter, January 8th. I try to give the season credit for its importance as one part of the cycle, thinking pain is life, thinking pain is only weakness leaving the body, thinking the cold is that which gives meaning to warmth. our bodies finally finding each other in the morning after a long night rolling one way and then the other on either side of the bed. To divide and conquer. The division is really all that's needed, you see. The other is just aftermath, just war, just silence, just misunderstanding. And today I fear there's too much of this in the world. I fear that we're not getting it right as people. I'm not a dreamer like I used to be. I don't know if I believe in great things anymore, but that doesn't mean great things can't happen. When it was April 7:30 and the sun was just going down and the street lights were coming on and the children were out in the streets, the neighbors with their dogs slapping at his mouth while he barked, the two of us on the porch drinking something on ice. I don't remember, but I remember the cold of it going down. I remember asking St. Francis for the birds just a little bit longer. These days it is more St. Anthony I call upon, saying, I think I have lost my soul. I think I have lost what I wanted to say, saying, Tony, 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 please come around. The trees are so stark against the sky today, I feel a bit like I am living in a picture, which is to say I feel surreal and held in one place and held tenderly by the hand of someone I once knew, folded and tucked away by someone else, placed in one of those boxes we all have where we put the things we cannot let go of, the things we want to keep but not see, nor need to. And I think the heart is like that sometimes, that it holds distantly to what it might as well just let go. I tell myself 1,000 stories about myself. I tell myself you were a good man, you were a bad man, you were wasting your life, you were doing something right. From one day to the next, I'm in love with myself, or I'm looking at myself disgusted and tired of all the bullshit I repeat to one person after another I meet on the streets or at family gatherings. All the same things I've said over and over and over, when wanting only to say, I really don't want to talk, or I really don't even like you, or you are my family, my friend. Why are we speaking to each other like we haven't known each other our whole lives? Like we weren't there in that world of childhood together. Like we didn't talk about girls or our lives in the future or the big possibility of everything we might be. There is too little of that these days, too little of you saying to me, I want more, I am not myself, of me saying to you, I just want to not talk about the weather or the next president or all the children. Even though I love the children, we spend so much time outside their world just looking in, the brothers and sisters and friends and cousins, thinking once life was that simple, once we smiled, once we cried, once we ran through the house naked with no thoughts of the windows or other humans, no thoughts of the real estate market, except the large expanse of a room as it stretched out in front, thinking I bet by God I can run all the way to the other side. Now we run away, or rather we do not run, but we turn from each other very politely. We spend a long time at doors, and sometimes I have the urge to say something very important, something that is right on my tongue, and I feel like I could make their life better by uttering a few words because people have done this thing for me, and I want to give it back, and I can sometimes see them wanting to give it back, but we do not give it back. Only a hug, which is the closest we can get or care to get or know how anymore. We are real people, all grown up now. I remember going back home to my hometown and running into some older woman who knew me as a child, who couldn't remember, or who I couldn't remember if I wanted to, and I do, who sees only the child in me, held in a 6-foot body, sees not my mistakes, my faults, the ins and outs of 30 years of making people proud and upsetting people, winning awards and wrecking cars and doing drugs or staying sober. They see none of that. Only the child is man, that mannish boy, and we have nothing at all to say to each other, so they just stand back and smile and hug me as if I was something tender enough to break, small enough not to notice, unless looking very hard as I have grown older now to become. And I think sometimes I am too much of a man being a man. I'm too much jealousy, too much indifference, too much paranoia as it comes on, too much guilt. I drag the guilt around like a dead shadow, a heavy shadow, and sometimes I don't even know what I feel guilty for, only that it seems that I should, that it is my destiny. Day by day I am happy or hurting or both, and not knowing how not to be, not knowing how to be everything I want to be for you, everything I feel like I can be, everything I feel like we can all be for each other. I'm dreaming again. It seems again I am a dreamer, but I don't care today. I don't even care about knowing how my caring comes to me. how much I care so much, how I do. Winter, I'm taking it for what it is. The longest season it seems, the darkest, the hardest, and by some accounts that makes it worth the most in the end, worth every bit of blossoming I can stand. Thank you all.
Clay Matthews, everybody. One more time. We're going to take about a 5 to 10 minute break to let you wonderful people sign up to share your poems on that sign up sheet. Also, talk to these guys about their books. We'll be back.